are you proposing?
It's simple. Kill the Batman.
This week on At the Movies with Ebert and Roeper, Batman is back, and we've got an early review of Christian Bale and Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
We're under attack! Eddie Murphy tries to control himself in Meet Dave.
Pull the brake! Pull the brake!
Brendan Fraser takes a journey to the center of the earth.
You have more in common with us than with them, demon.
Excuse me.
Plus, the cigar-chomping, tail-wagging tough guy returns in Hellboy 2.
I've seen now what I have to become to stop men like him.
The night is darkest just before the dawn. I promise you, the dawn is coming.
And here we go.
The creepiest villain this side of Hannibal Lecter does battle with a caped crusader. I'm Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Richard Roeper. The best comic book movie summer ever just got a whole lot better. The Dark Knight opens next week. This is an early review. Christopher Nolan's Gotham City epic is one of the best movies of the year and should merit consideration for a Best Picture nomination. This is a rich, complex, visually thrilling piece of pop entertainment, as strong as any superhero epic I've ever seen.
Now there's a Batman. Who you want to play? Come on.
The A-list cast includes Christian Bale as the most intimidating Batman and the most arrogant Bruce Wayne in the history of the series, and Gary Oldman as the righteous James Gordon. Maggie Gyllenhaal is an upgrade from Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes. She's at the center of a love triangle between Bruce Wayne and Aaron Eckhart's crusading DA, Harvey Dent.
Bruce, this is Harvey Dent.
The famous Bruce Wayne. Rachel's told me everything about you.
I certainly hope not. So let's put a couple tables together.
I'm not sure that they'll let us.
Oh, they should. I own the place.
With the help of Morgan Freeman's Lucius Fox, Batman ventures far outside Gotham City's jurisdiction to fetch a key mob accountant who has fled to Hong Kong. But of course, the real villain in The Dark Knight is the Joker. The late Heath Ledger plays him like the demented offspring of Alex from A Clockwork Orange.
Why don't we cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches? And then we'll see how loyal a hungry dog really is. It's not about money. It's about sending a message.
It'll be an upset if Ledger isn't nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and it won't be a maudlin sympathy vote either. He creates a Joker that is one of the most memorable screen characters of the decade. Writer-director Nolan has fashioned a near masterpiece here, maybe the best superhero movie ever made. His action sequences are thrilling, including 2 or 3 moments that are guaranteed to generate big applause in theaters. Even with the lead in a bat suit, The Dark Knight has the authentic feel of a crime epic like Heat or The Departed. It's a great film. I say see it. In fact, see it twice.
I would see it twice, and I'm looking forward to it. This film really is one of the great achievements of the year.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Heath Ledger for just a second.
Sure.
I mean, you look at a still photograph of what he's up to as the Joker, and it is riveting. And the wonderful thing about this screenplay and the way Christopher Nolan has directed this picture is you don't overexploit a terrific villain. He's in the film just the right amount, and all the scenes really land, and they're kind of creepily funny, and a lot of it's really truly menacing, and the balance is perfect. And it's so hard to get that kind of creepy funny balance right in a comic book picture. Look at Jack Nicholson in Tim Burton's Batman, which to me was fun, but
he was
really,
a clown.
But this is nothing.
It was a clown
it's nothing
performance,
compared to what Ledger's into.
And you're right also about this being really an ensemble piece. Even Christian Bale, he has about the same amount of screen time as Batman and Bruce Wayne as Aaron Eckhart does as Harvey Dent. Each character, Gary Oldman gets his moment. Everybody has his moments.
And not flashy, too. The work, I mean, there's one extremely flashy performance, and it's the right one.
Yes.
Everybody else seems very invested, even people very familiar to all of us. Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine. They're actually, all the work is just a little better, a little more,
as I mentioned, that's why it reminded me of movies like Heat or The Departed. Obviously, we're dealing in, superhero genre here.
Yeah.
But played authentically by everybody else. This is the world they live in. Gotham City, Chicago, filling in for Gotham City, is a real place that just happens to have a crazed killer on the loose and one superhero who's not exactly the most popular guy in town all the time.
Right.
And a lot of the action sequences are filmed in IMAX. You and I saw it at a screening that was in IMAX. It was amazing. I think it'll play just as well on a regular full-size theater.
Yeah, we're talking 20 minutes out of 2.5 hours. It is not. It is not a brief picture, but the 20 minutes of IMAX footage, I think, is going to translate very well to the conventional 2D stuff. And one thing I love about it too is there's plenty of CGI in this film, but Nolan he's a real filmmaker of taste.
Oh yeah.
That scene we're talking about, the major action sequence, that hinges on very simple action staging and stunt work, and then a little CGI maybe. And that's why that film feels like an authentic experience.
Well,
it's just a great time.
Christopher Nolan, in addition to Memento, one of my favorite films of the decade, The Prestige, he's a storyteller. He's not just a guy dealing in special effects here. You know, you mentioned the running time of about 2.5 hours. I'm telling you, it's the fastest 2.5 hours I've spent at the movies in years. There's never a moment where I was going, oh, geez, they could have cut 15 minutes out of this film. It zips along.
Right. I mean, a slight quibble with you on that, but I think it's going to play equally well to the rabid fans waiting for this thing for months and people who are just sort of walking in wondering, hey, is this film for me? It's going to be for them. Okay, our next superhero movie is Handcock, which stars Will Smith as a surly wino of a superhero. And why is this film a hit? Well, it's because Will Smith is playing the surly wino of a superhero. Didn't I just say that? In director Peter Berg's film, Los Angeles is blessed and cursed with a flying superhero who causes as much damage as he does good.
Raven! Down! Huh? You want down? I'm real good at down. I'm real good at down. All right?
Few movie stars on the planet bring more charisma to any project than Will Smith. But now that Handcock has clicked with the public, we can say with some certainty that it's a hit despite itself and almost wholly because of the star. I gotta say, skip it, especially when you've got something as good as The Dark Knight waiting for your money. It just, to me, is nothing but noise.
Well, it's certainly not in the same league as The Dark Knight, but I am saying see it, and I think a lot of people saw it because they emailed me individually, and I said, see it, see it, see it.
Really?
To,
all 110
like 10 million people.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you know, Michael, there are a lot of problems with this movie. There's a big twist that I know a lot of critics are really dumping on. I think it has its problems, but I like the idea of this boozy, cursing, jerky superhero getting a PR agent.
I like the idea, too.
Performances are all very strong. When it tries to become something more, you have the feeling that there's a screenplay sitting somewhere that's brilliant, that got watered down or changed or rewritten.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a mishmash, but really good performances. I like Peter Berg's direction. I'm giving it a mild see it.
That is the problem with the film. I love the story idea and I love the cast. I think Berg shoots this thing like this kind of nasty R-rated action thriller, and the tone is all wrong.
No, I think that tone fits this story. All right, later in the show, Handcock and Batman have already tried to save the world, but can we complete the superhero trifecta? It's Hellboy 2.
And speaking of completing a trifecta, from Pluto Nash to Norbit to Eddie Murphy in Meet Dave.
All right, that's going to freak me out.
Oh, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman man. Now it's time to talk. Hey, 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 stay in my life. Hey.
Well, the best thing I can say about the Eddie Murphy vehicle, Meet Dave, is it's not quite as awful as you might expect. It's bad, but not as offensively bad as Norbit, or as excruciatingly as unfunny as Pluto Nash. It kind of reminded me of one of those bad Disney live-action movies from the 60s. Murphy plays Dave, a human-sized spaceship who has come to Earth to save his own planet. They're always coming here to plunder our planet for their planet. He's also the captain inside the head of that spaceship. Even though Dave's planet is in peril, he takes lots of detours in pursuit of laughs that are hard to come by.
Our champion, 85 delicious all-beef hot dogs.
Yeah! Woo! Woo! Yeah, boy, yeah! What?
Well executed, Captain.
Even in C-movie junk like this, Murphy manages to wring a few laughs out of the material, but the humor is so broad it barely fits onto the screen. The crew members on the spaceship quickly adopt unfunny stereotypes from the humans, from the chorus line-loving gay guy to the hip-hop-digging black guy to the Jewish nerd. They come all this way only to fall victim to lazy humor, cheap special effects, and cornball plot elements. That'd be a skip it.
Yeah, I think that's a skip it for me too. It's not the train wreck that you might expect.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing,
that's just lovely.
I know.
Damning with faint praise.
I love to kind of come out that way. But the thing that breaks my heart really is Murphy is a major comic talent. You got a premise that actually could work, and it's worked for various projects in the past. Inner Space, All of Me, where you have like a body not in control.
Right. Yes. And it lends itself to certain kinds of physical shtick.
Right. And you can see what Murphy's going for in terms of the family-friendly PG thing. It all is just kind of so much softer and dumber than it should have been. And really, if you're a movie star like Eddie Murphy and you have that kind of power and time to work a script, why don't you? That's what I want to know.
That's what I was thinking, Michael, as I'm watching this, and I just picture Murphy doing the take and going, okay, can I go pick up the kids now? And just kind of walking through it, where he should be saying, how do I get a Travolta-esque revival of my career, a la 1994 when Travolta did Pulp Fiction? How does Eddie Murphy get back into that groove? You know, he did Dreamgirls, and he was very good in that.
I would say,
but so many more movies like this that he's doing, as we mentioned, movies like Norbit that are just so awful. And it's like, really, that's all you want to do at this point in your career?
Look, he's not alone. I think in a way, half of A-list Hollywood settles for a little less than they should. But you know, you got to take a stand and just say, look, the next one's going to be better than the last one.
He doesn't need to work. We know that.
You know. Coming up next, Brendan Fraser goes 3D in Journey to the Center of the Earth.
And later, we'll review Hellboy 2.
You woke up the baby.
Is that the geyser?
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Haven't you ever seen a dinosaur before?
Not with skin on it!
That was a scene from the new 3D extravaganza, Journey to the Center of the Earth, starring Brendan Fraser. We reviewed it a couple of weeks ago. It opens this weekend, and I had a lot of fun with it. I say see it.
I say see it, too. You know, and I think it actually would hold up well enough in its cheesy way in 2D, but you got to see it in 3D, you know?
You can tell they had a lot of fun making this movie, and it was a fun experience.
It's fun. It's got
a minor shit, but it's certainly worth checking out.
And it's got the right spirit, you know?
It absolutely
it's
does.
Blatantly a theme park ride and a good time. Okay, next. When there's trouble, the freaks have to stick together. That was the moral of the engaging first Hellboy movie from Guillermo del Toro, who more recently created his own dense underworld mythology in the Oscar-winning Pan's Labyrinth. Now, del Toro's written and directed Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. This time, the specially powered creatures who work for the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense are saving the planet from an underworld prince who's had it with mankind mucking up the planet. It's time, this prince figures, to unleash some fresh hell for Hellboy and the gang. Those critters are called tooth fairies, but they're not the kind you want coming round your pillow at night. Ron Perlman's back as the cigar-chomping Hellboy, who's now setting up shop with the pyro-telekinetic Liz, played by Selma Blair.
We have no survivors, no bodies.
Same story here, babe.
Don't call me babe.
Hey, I said. Hey. Wrong channel. Babe, I think Liz is still mad at me.
Still the same channel.
Oh.
The new film eventually pulls off all its remaining stops for the battle with the Dark Prince's army of doom. Hellboy 2 tends to sideline its rock'em sock'em hero amid all the elaborate action sequences. Still, just for scenes such as the one with the Tooth Fairies, this sequel is well worth your time, especially if you're at all into impossibly dense superhero mythology. It's not as fresh as Hellboy 1, but it's still an eyeful, so I say see it.
I say see it as well. It's kind of an overblown art film with Del Toro's direction here. It looks like he has some of the creatures left over from Pan's Labyrinth,
absolutely, yeah.
if they bred with the bar scene from Star Wars. And you know, Michael,
that's an experiment that I never want to see.
We have such a superhero world going on right now. On the West Coast, you've got Iron Man running into Handcock. On the East Coast, Hellboy and the Incredible Hulk, and Batman somewhere in the middle. I mean, we're definitely in the middle of the summer movie season. This one, I do think it has some, amazing images. The story, we've kind of seen a lot of this before. We have yet another superhero with a PR problem going on here. But Ron Perlman's so good. He plays this role.
He had more to play with in the first film, though. I think.
Yeah, but I like the relationship. It's kind of like when Harry met Sally. They just happen to be superheroes. There's a lot of fun bickering and best friending, and then there's a romance going on. You've got Barry Manilow, music going on here. There's a lot of elements. Not all of them work for me, but I think it's a pretty entertaining film.
Here's the one thing that Del Toro's work really distinguishes itself. I think, you know, you have work you really notice, not just for the CGI, but for the real design work that starts on the page. You know, the creatures created for this picture are really kind of exotic and amazing. And I want to know, actually, Rich, why you didn't like the first Hellboy and somehow you've changed your mind on...
I've come to appreciate it more. And watching the first one again on video, I think maybe I was a little bit too rough on it. And seeing them together, I think he's a really compelling character and some great visuals. I'm still not in love with all of the mythology of the character. I find in some of the stuff with the Golden Army, yeah, it gets pretty dense, but very good stuff.
Yeah, and that Golden Army climax doesn't have the impact it should, because I think the one thing Del Toro doesn't have is any sense of, you know, when to say when, and it doesn't quite, you know, build it the way it should, but it's still an eyeful. So.
Absolutely so. All right, our next movie is The Wackness. It's an offbeat, studiously indie-feeling movie set in those long-ago days of the mid-1990s. Remember that? Yeah. Josh Peck strikes an interesting blend of cockiness and vulnerability as Luke Shapiro. He's an Upper East Side pot dealer whose wisecracks mask his insecurities. Ben Kingsley takes on yet another bizarre fogey role as Luke's therapist, who's also one of his clients. Olivia Thirlby plays his stepdaughter, Stephanie. She's the girl of Luke's dreams.
You sell ices?
That's my cover for my parents. Check me out.
Oh, that's a lot of green, man.
The Wackness is a minor triumph. I don't want to oversell it. But there's a certain aching authenticity to Luke's relationships with his father figure Shrink and the girl who's almost certainly going to break his heart. So I say see it.
Ooh, I say skip it. No, thank you. No, the whole thing seems very arch and smug to me. I disagree with you on Josh Peck, too. I got to say, I don't think it's his fault, but he is not a guy who has yet learned how to, like, make one of those characters a full human being on screen.
It's not a performance that completely sold me, I have to say, and it is the lead in the film, but I think with Kingsley and Olivia Thirlby in particular, I thought there was enough to recommend.
I think other than that, it's The Graduate with bongs.
I like that. Hey, that's why I liked it. Coming up next, an iconic director goes on the trial of his life, but first, here's a look at what's coming up over the next few weeks.
There were 3 guys around the same time.
You shady lady.
Where's reverse on this thing?
Welcome to Instar. How can I help you?
ADD just landed itself a new drummer.
This segment is brought to you by Raisinets. Make a deliciously smart choice with Raisinets.
They know what they're doing, these people, do they?
No, absolutely. Professional criminals.
Looking at movies new on DVD, Jason Statham stars in one of my favorite movies so far this year, The Bank Job. Michael liked it as well. I say Stop Loss is worth a rental. Michael says skip it, and we both say you can definitely skip College Road Trip.
And we certainly do. Now, the last film on this jam-packed show is an amazing new documentary, Roman Polanski, Wanted and Desired. And it makes you wonder, could any man have made a film this nuanced on this same subject? I doubt it. The director, Marina Zanovich, looks at the crime that has dogged the director of Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown ever since the day back in 1977 when Polanski, then 43, offered champagne and pills to a 13-year-old girl at his pal Jack Nicholson's house. Polanski was charged with unlawful intercourse, and he became the eye of a media storm.
It's a lot of sensational stuff, but try to go beyond it, understand my position. It's not the best type of publicity, not something I desire. I have not much to tell you, except that I'm innocent.
And, of course, Polanski fled the country, never to return, not even to pick up his Oscar for directing The Pianist. Roman Polanski, Wanted and Desired is as much about the celebrity-obsessed judge who presided over the case as it is about the slippery enigma that is Polanski, who was last seen on screen, unfortunately, in Rush Hour 3, a fabulous film. Wow. It's already on HBO, this picture, and it's currently in limited theatrical release, but in any format, this picture is excellent storytelling. I say see it.
I say see it as well, Michael, and not for a second does this film excuse Roman Polanski. No. You say he's been dogged since 1977. He should be dogged for the rest of his life. No, you know what? 43-year-old man gives drugs and has sex with a 13-year-old girl. That's rape. Yeah. But you're right. This is more about the culture of celebrity, the sensationalism, a power-hungry, media-hungry judge, and all the things that have happened since then. And as such, it's a very good documentary.
And it's a portrait of this sort of this Hollywood time and place that really is, you know, just unreal.
Very good.
Yeah, very good film. Yeah. Okay, we'll be back with my picks for 3 to see, the 3 best movies in theaters right after this.
All right, recapping the movies on this week's show, The Dark Knight. We both say see it. It opens next week. We split on Handcock. I say see it. Michael says skip it. We both say skip it for Meet Dave. Journey to the Center of the Earth, we both say see it. Hellboy 2, we both say see it. We split on the Wackness. I say see it. The Wackness here says skip it. And we both say see it for Roman Polanski, Wanted and Desired.
Okay, 3 to see. My 3 favorites in theaters right now. Number 3, Hellboy 2. Not quite up to the first, but with the director of Pan's Labyrinth behind it, you're guaranteed some pretty amazing sights. Number 2, Journey to the Center of the Earth. T-Rex spittle and flying killer piranhas coming right at your face. See the 3D version if you can. And number 1, WALL-E, easily one of the year's most magical achievements.
You know, it's a good time right now for kids' movies because I also like Kittredge, the American Girl Place movie,
film, yeah.
and Kung Fu Panda still playing at the
Yes, yes. No, those I love those.
Good stuff there. All right, that's it for this week. Until next week, the balcony is closed.
It's Discover America Pancakes at IHOP. Try New York cheesecake, Georgia praline peach, and all-American red, white, and blueberry. IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Heat up your summer with the #1 dance movie of the year.
I'll see you at the streets.
Step Up to The Streets on DVD and Blu-ray High Def Tuesday, July 15.
We think you rock. Join Best Western's rewards program. Stay any 6 nights and get a $50 Best Western travel card. AAA members get it after only 5 nights. Visit bestwestern.com for details.